Hi, Paul.
Hi, Jack.
Glad to hear from you.
Yeah, likewise. Always great to hear your voice.
Thank you. And today, tell me.
Well, um, just having powerful thoughts, and I am um, I am acting on it, um, feeling like I have no other choice, but I do.
Well, let's go with the feeling you know have no other choice. Do you think those thoughts are powerful?
Well, um, yeah, I feel like I have no way out,
Right.
like other than yeah. Um, It is powerful because I give power to it. Yeah.
Well, do you think when you give power to something that has no power, it then has power?
No, not anymore.
But some part of you must believe that it does to feel those thoughts have power over you as though they live independently of you and have nothing to do with you, which is why you feel you have no control and there's no other choice.
Yeah. Yeah. I keep going back and forth that I'm just not doing something well, or I missed out something from a 12 steps, or
So maybe
or
you're
I'm
right.
not. I am has to be.
Where do you think you would be missing that? Something you did in the
Uh,
past or something you're doing now?
well, like in the past, I think.
And do you think that's possible to be thinking about the past now and think that the problem is somewhere that isn't here?
No, no. I mean, that going to be corrected right now or can be corrected right now. Um,
Right. So where do you
the,
think it's being broken?
in my mind,
But when? When?
uh, like like what am I like bothering myself with?
Well, let's just talk about here and now to begin with. If nothing else happens at any other time or place than the present, then if there's a problem, where would the problem be?
Not right now.
Yeah. So if you start there, where is there to look?
Um, right now.
Yeah, okay. So let's do that. Let's start where we are. So at least if we go anywhere, we know where we were, rather than think we shouldn't be here because there's some other
Yeah,
time and place that something happened, and then wonder why I feel out of place and don't count because I'm being unaccountable for the thinking I'm doing presently, and make believe I have to get somewhere I can never get, and wonder why I feel despair and the impossibility of thinking I have no other option but to continue. If I'm the one creating that, then I'm the one telling the story, and I'm also think I'm in the story, thinking I can't do anything about the story because I'm pretending as though I have nothing to do with the story and thinking it has nothing to do with me and nothing to do with my thinking and must be somewhere else with something else. And as a result, I keep looking for more and more and more of something that's never enough. So
yeah,
if I can't have what I have while I have it, I'm going to think I have to have something else somewhere else in some quantity that, by the way, is never enough, as you know. So
never.
your struggle right now is with food.
Yeah, um, yeah, I do struggle with food. Um, like I don't struggle with food. I struggle with yeah. It's really confusing. I mean, I make it confusing for sure.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's like the confusing part is that I like the work I did in Alcoholics Anonymous, and then like I'm supposed to do the same or really similar work in like I going through the steps in OA, and it's just it's slightly different, but I've been taking through the steps in from the big book and the 12 and 12 in AA. So what's really confusing that I was able to put down drugs and alcohol so easily, and like, you know, I have another addiction which is so much tougher, and you know, I want to control it and abuse it how I want it.
Well, food may be very distinctly different, just like thinking is very distinctive from an obsession or a compulsion that we exercise abstinence with. Drinking, we don't need to do. Eating, we need to do. Breathing, we need to do. Right? Those are things that are necessities within the instinctive drive of a human. Food, shelter, clothing. So food is at the
Well,
top of that list. It's not something you're going to stop doing, nor is thinking something you're going to stop doing. So when I said your problem today is food, that's the manifestation of the mental problem you have about food, about what you should be able to eat and why you should be able to eat whatever you want to eat. And then you're recognizing that when you do eat those things that you think you can't do anything other than, you don't feel good about having done that.
yeah,
Is that pretty accurate?
you are. But you know, like, I'm happen to be blessed to have, you know, a design for living with this program as well. It's really black and white. You know, I have a nutritionist put together a meal plan that is actually like put it together for me personally with my needs and workouts, and like she put it together to me, and it's pretty wide range of food. It's pretty wide range of, like, it's either alcoholic or non-alcoholic food, and you know, so it's like I have a meal plan, which is not coming from me. Like I have a freedom of choice to choose those what's inside of that, yeah, for sure. But and I learned a lot of good, like a lot of good tools that I can stay abstinent in this program, because it happened many times. Like, you know, I put a couple of 6-7 months together. I put 8 months together, and like being in a program 2.5 years ago, and but somehow, some way, I always find myself back.
Yeah. So let's look at the mental problem. If you think you
Yeah,
can't and shouldn't be doing what you're doing, which is probably part of what you're thinking right now,
yeah,
and you're thinking that at the same time that you're doing exactly what you can do and want to do, that would be a very, very difficult to problem to resolve if you keep maintaining those two positions. If you follow me.
yeah. It's
So you're free to
and
do what you're doing, right?
yeah,
But you don't think you should be doing it.
yeah.
You see the conflict?
It is.
Yeah. So
I
embracing the freedom to begin with, and I tell you this because it's the same thing with sobriety when it comes to, you know, long-term sobriety was not a thing that happened to many, many people in the way that it did once AA created the 12 steps and created a formula along with a network of people practicing that formula that were supportive of one another. Long-term sobriety wasn't popular, just like you're describing food. But if you and I were able to drink a beer every week, there's a good chance that we would go a little out of control with that beer, justifying a second one or maybe a third one or maybe a fourth. And maybe what's the difference? It's only one more, a fifth and a sixth and a seventh and a tenth and a 12th, right?
yeah,
And in food, just like in thinking, we're not being asked to stop eating and we're not being asked to stop thinking. We're asked to be sane about the thinking and the eating we do, start to actually operate on a basis of sanity. Now, that sanity is the same sanity that can evolve through every program and every compulsion, because the problem is a mental obsession. The obsession isn't only the compulsion we're struggling with, it goes on in relation to everything we're struggling with if we make believe our thinking is in fact reality. And thus it must be true and it must be right, and at all costs then we defend it because we make believe our life depends on it now. Because we are the creators of reality, we need to be the defenders of that reality we create. If that were true, the defense of it would help. In fact, the defense of it is exactly what maintains the addiction.
defending, protecting the false reality.
Well, it isn't really, but it's continuing to maintain the illusion that it's real enough to fight with and to be overrun by and to be controlled by. So let's say, for the sake of potentially creating an argument, but in other words, not arguing, let's say we're free to think anything we want, however we want, whatever we want. Let's just say that's the basis of freedom. And the Big Book talks about that, right? Let's say that's a principle, that's an underlying principle of truth and reality, that gives us absolute freedom to think whatever we want, however we want, whenever we want. And whenever we're doing it is always now, wherever we're doing it is always here. So if we're always doing it here and now, and we're choosing to make believe that we're condemned by it, we're actually choosing a thought within the context of our potential possibility that gives us an impression that we're condemned to the thing we're not trying to do by doing the thing we're not supposed to be doing. It's all created by this thinking of not really appreciating the fact that we're absolutely free. Every one of us, ultimately, who is an alcoholic and doesn't drink, knows that we are free to drink at any moment we want. And to the degree that we think we're not sober because we're still condemned to the idea that we need to suffer through every day to avoid and defend and protect against that first drink, as though the drink's going to happen to us rather than being drunk by us, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same with the food. If you eat out of line with a food program that gives you very, very strict rules, you know that you've lost your sobriety in that regard, that you've failed once again. And that can be it can be very difficult to face that if you don't see the benefit in it and the luxury of being able to clarify what's wrong by recognizing what's wrong and saying, oh, of course, it's wrong. If I am free to do that, when I do that, I'm always going to feel contempt and condemned as a result, or condemned and contempt for others, for food, for the program, for all of the rules and regulations that seem to be used to have me do it, when in fact it's something I'm actually freely choosing because I know my health is better off when I eat better and eat more nutrition and eat things that are good for my body and use food rather than as a sport, but as a nutritional basis. It's the same with food for thought. When I'm thinking substantive, thoughtful thoughts, I have a much different experience than when I'm thinking thoughts with no basis at all are true and real. And the substance abuse is, in fact, that within the mentality. The idea that no substance has substance is, in fact, that same argument you're talking about, or that same struggle you're having with seeming power. You think you can give it power, but if all power is already in existence, we can't give any more or less power to anything. It's already in place. It's already complete. It's already whole. It's already our nature. We already know it. We're already aware of it. And to begin to embrace that and embrace the freedom we have I know I spent 6 years trying to negotiate a management style that would allow me to drink and do drugs because I had built an enormous emotional structure on the basis of using drugs and alcohol to avoid feeling what I was feeling so that I could feel that what I was feeling I wasn't feeling, because I was numbing my body and desensitizing it and influencing it with chemical interactions that gave me another impression than what was actually going on. So I was delusional about what was happening. What are the chances I'm going to fix something if I'm delusional about the problem? No chance at all. So your freedom to do it, if you begin to embrace it, you're going to see clearly, you'll start laughing about the fact that you know that when you have the choice, it is a choice. And you can't be condemned to a choice because choice always allows not to be chosen. As a principle, principles always, like good and bad, are both the same thing. They're just different positions in relation to something. I like it, so I think it's good. I don't like it, I think it's bad. They're related. They're part of the same. One does not stand alone without the other. Just like left does not stand alone to right, up does not stand alone to down. They're all combined. They're all ranges, possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, like somehow, some way, when I had the freedom of choice, so much more freedom of for decisions and like it was so much easier to just
If you always have it, Paul, the only thing you're struggling with are thoughts that are lies, giving you the impression you no longer have it. Because any lie is going to fracture into additional lies to create a narrative to support the story that you're out of control, it's out of control, food is out of control, food is out of your control, food has more power over you than you have, when food has the exact same power that you share. It's the essence of food is based in the exact same nature that reality and truth are based in. It doesn't have any volition of its own. It doesn't choose to slam itself down your throat. You're the one that
No,
picks it up. You're the one that makes the decision. If the decision is being made and you don't think it's healthy, look at the fact that you think unhealthy decisions are the only things you can make. That's a mental addiction. That's exactly what drives every compulsion. And Bill Wilson, in the big book, initially identified addiction as a mental problem. He didn't say that it was in the bottle and in the symptom. He said the symptom was a simple, or alcohol was a symptom, and the bottle was a symbol of an underlying mental cause. And that mental cause is thinking we have power in our thoughts, when in fact our thoughts are empowered by reality and truth, not given reality and truth because we think they have it. That whole major conflict means everything within reality becomes susceptible to our perversion and the twisted nature of our thinking about it, meaning we can be attached to anything as an excuse to claim we don't have any choice, when in fact we're choosing that thought, that way, and that interpretation.
yeah, I do. And it's like once I'm in it, I can't see clearly at all.
Good, good. Well,
Talk,
and really, once you think you're in it, it's the thinking you're doing that's no longer clear because you're clearly not thinking rationally.
yeah,
It's actually giving you very good information about your utilization of your thoughts or your misutilization of your thoughts, your misperception of your thoughts, your misunderstanding of your thoughts.
yeah, it is. And I had some time that I'm able to see when I'm actually able to like think rationally
Yeah.
and able to think clearly, have a clear mind, and um, yeah, definitely, and yeah,
So there's other issues involved. The problem is never the problem if the source of the problem is not being looked at accurately. So some of the issues with food, how do you look? How do you appear to people? Same thing that happens in all addictions. The addictive personality, when it's in full bloom, is very concerned about how they appear and how they seem to people, because the image they are projecting is based on how they think they are rather than how they are, and how they think they seem rather than how they are, and how they think they appear rather than how they are. That's you and I. That's a potential. We can induce that experience.
yeah. I mean, are we talking about appearance? And talking about like I don't know, maybe I'm translating it wrong. That I have an image about myself.
Yes.
Um,
An image,
and
by the way.
yeah,
And about I have an image about myself. Think about that.
yeah,
If you weren't thinking about a self that was made up in the same imagery that you create in your thinking, you would simply say, I have an image.
and that's not me.
Well, if you had an image, the image would be whatever your image is, but it wouldn't be yourself or myself or their themselves. It would just be, I have an image about how I look, not how myself looks in this other incarnation of this split personality that we make believe is happening to us in the same way we make believe food is happening to us. And in the same way we make believe we have no choice over it and all we can do is cater to it and try to bring some sense to it when the whole thing is based on an irrational concept about reality and truth and who we think we are rather than who we actually are.
Yeah, I mean, I had some big breakthroughs with that one
Yeah.
before with you
Yes,
actually. Maybe
absolutely.
in this. maybe in this previous podcast, I'm not sure, but like, and the same with the thoughts too. So I
Yes.
have I have a thought about whatever it is, and it's not me, but that's what I'm struggling with right now.
Yeah. Well, and who have you been talking to about it?
um,
The mental part.
I mean, like, well, like nobody really approaching it like how you are approaching it with me. So, um,
So think about
I
this. If I can have any impact on you, is it because of what I'm doing or because of what you're able to do?
well, like, yeah, you're definitely holding my hand through this experience, or like guiding me through. But yeah, it's me.
But if you were unable to do it, my words would be absolutely useless to you. And I
Yeah,
don't
that's
share
true.
these words because I think they're right for you to hear. I simply share my experience from doing exactly what you're doing. And sometime every day, I do exactly what you're doing in some way. Every day, in some way, there's something that exceeds my expectation, exceeds the limits of a thought, seems to catch me off guard, suggesting that I'm constantly on guard. And I think that's my management style that gives me a chance to say, oh, there's more. I think it's in the dark because I'm not paying attention to it. There is more to me to be enlightened by, illuminated by, write about, bring some sense to that's intelligent, rather than simply continue to maintain the idea that I can't understand why it keeps happening and it doesn't stop and I have nothing to do with it and I don't know how to get over it. I can think those things. And I can think alone those things because I don't have any contest to my thinking when I'm thinking alone. There's no other perspective being offered, and I'm drowning in the narrow nature of that seeming self centered thinking. But really, what I'm doing is thinking about my thinking about my thinking about my thinking itself more and more and more. And it isn't becoming fresher and more original by regenerating and reintroducing and repeating the same thinking over and over and over and over again until I feel so bothered and troubled I can't take it and want to drink and want to eat and want to kill myself. And the self I want to kill doesn't even exist. So the
Yeah.
idea that I'm going to kill my body in the name of a self that's literally imagined shows me how much investment I have in that thing as being real and true and all I am and all I'll ever be, and all I can ever become. All lies, every one of them lies. My nature, your nature does not change because I make believe I'm the creator of reality. What changes is my mental health. So, my friend, you said early on, you tend to only call when you're in desperate need or really frustrated.
No, I think it's just like I call. Like definitely not good to pick up the phone before I pick up the first bite. That's for sure. If
Right.
that's what we're talking about, absolutely yes. Because yeah, um, and like I have this, I call it prelapsing thoughts that
Right.
it's still okay. I'm just, this is still fine. This is not too bad, and this is just non-alcoholic beer, so it's okay. And like I have all those thoughts that actually set me up to, like, in a day or two, I'm overeating with the things that is actually
Yeah.
not not causing this. It's not it's actually like triggering this allergy, but I'm triggering the allergy in my mind that
Yes.
is actually like, you just a piece of shit and you fucked it up. So why not just go all the way?
But
And
let me tell you, those assessments are accurate. Those are actually correct. But you're identifying the self you think you are that is full of shit because it's a waste product of thought. It has no value. It's only seen to have value because we make believe it's our reality, and it isn't. And when I think I have no value, it's I'm thinking about the thought I'm having, not my reality, not myself. And if I'm thinking about myself in that contrived way of ego and the false self, I've completely perverted that word from the I am to the self I think I am. And that is not who I am. It's what I make up. It's what I make believe. It's fantasy as reality. And that is clearly insanity. And the point I was making about talking, Paul, is that if pain is the touchstone of spiritual growth, then it means we will wait and we will wait and we will wait and keep doing the same thing over and over again. And exactly as the book says, the idea that he can somehow, someday, control and enjoy his drinking is the great obsession of every abnormal drinker. It's also the great obsession of every abnormal thinker. And what's the abnormal thinking? That I think my brain should be processing insanity, delusion, fantasy is reality, and my brain, the allergy in my brain says, oh no, I don't know how to deal with this at all, so I'll just come up with something. And what does it come up with? Something negative: tension, stress, bile, stagnation in my body, inability of my metabolism to function. So anything I eat just doesn't know where to go and doesn't know how to be burned off because I'm creating a condition that doesn't allow that to happen naturally as I'm designed.
It
And those
sounds
are,
insane.
whoa, tell me about it. Tell me about it. It's exactly
um,
what it is. So
yeah,
I know your schedule is tight. We have 5 minutes, right?
yeah.
The conversation, whenever you have it, is either going to, what I realized I was doing with a lot of people, even in this conversation for a long time, was helping appeal to their better sense while I was meeting a reactive, defensive, defiant aspect of them, which was never going to hear what I said. It was always going to hear what they thought was being said and only see what they thought was being there to see. So they were seeing things that weren't there and hearing things that weren't there. And that's, again, a good definition of insanity. It's making believe that hallucinations and trances and all this mental imagery becomes reality rather than just something we're capable of doing. Imagination and creativity is a huge benefit for us, and it's turned into a liability with respect to this kind of thinking because the thinking is destructive. I think Seneca, who was a great philosopher, said that evil even destroys itself. So the idea that we are, and evil spelled backward is live. So again, this reversal of thinking, this idea that a lie could be true, and a lie is always based on something not true being thought to be true, or something false thought to be right, or something wrong thought to be right. There's always that inherent conflict in it. It isn't a lie when it's admitted as a lie. It just becomes useless. Nobody would rely on it. It's only a lie as long as we think it's true. And to begin to come to terms with that is to notice that struggle and that friction and know that somewhere in you, regardless of where that is, how it's happening, is happening right now. The sum total of what you're thinking is adding up to an experience of what your brain does when it's dealing with something it cannot digest. It can't process insanity. So it's going to cause disturbances and anxiety and stress and all of the things that happen in the body as symptoms explaining to us that something is wrong, saying, hey, you might want to look at what you're thinking right now. Instead of who you are and what you are and how you are, it's not giving you that. It's telling you what you are doing with your thinking. And it's your thoughts that are misused and misperceived and misunderstood that is the struggle. Addiction is not a disease of perception, it's a disease of misperception. And making believe the misperception and the misunderstanding and the mistaken identity is, in fact, understanding and perception and who we actually are. None of those things are true. But we can think they are because we're perfectly free. This freedom we have is absolute, which gives us the absolute chance, and humans have been proving this for thousands of years, that we are free to think and do whatever we want. Because the insanity we're witnessing even today, this week, today, we're witnessing things that make absolutely no sense. Absolutely no sense. And now it's become so common that it's easy to just not even think about it. When in fact it's a glaring example that collectively we are not thinking correctly about our thinking, and we're not thinking correctly about addiction, and we're not thinking correctly about a mental addiction. And so it isn't being talked of publicly. And as a result, the problem keeps getting worse, and the same diagnosis keeps trying to cure it with the same approach.
Yeah, it's me.
So let's keep talking. All right. That's my job, and my brain is to do what I can to speak about this as often as I can to anyone interested in listening. And I'm often talking to people who have absolutely no interest in it because I don't know what else I can do but do what I feel is the most valuable and the most useful, and also practice in the face of difficulty the potential to have a conversation that could be meaningful, whether or not it turns out to be meaningful. There's meaning for all of us in doing what we can because there's a sense of value regardless. Just like in the 12th step where we're carrying the message to others, we try to do that. It's not up to us for them to take it. It's up to us to do the part we can. And that's what I want to do. I love this conversation because it confirms and fulfills the potential I know we all share. And I would rather live in a world where that potential is greater than make believe there's absolutely nothing I can do about it because it seems so hopeless and helpless. That would be my surrender to thoughts that are lies and give up completely, when in fact that possibility is never reduced and the potential for all of us is never changed. It's only thought to be. I love you.
I love you too. Thanks for spending time
Let's
with
talk
me.
tomorrow.
All right.
Bless you, my child.
Thank you.
See you around campus.
Bye.